Today, for your review on the Black Riflemen's Organization and channel, we have the mighty Mossberg 590A1. I like to call it the steak sauce edition. This shotgun has a storied history. It was the primary 12-gauge weapon used by the Marine Corps for a significant amount of time, and that is what encouraged me to purchase it. This was my very first gun purchase, and I bought it after some significant civil unrest not far from my home. And I thought that it might be wise to purchase something that I could defend my home and my loved ones with, if ever called upon to do so. The Mossberg is used not only by some military groups, but is also used by law enforcement. This and the Remington 870 are probably the most quality made 12-gauge pump guns that you can get a hold of. Now, this particular weapon has a side saddle on it that holds an extra 6 rounds. I have the traditional full-length stock on it. It has a heat shield, and as you can see, there is no red dot or any kind of fancy stuff on here at this point in time. It has a simple brass bead sight that I have found to be quite accurate and easy to use at distances further away than you would think. This particular weapon can hold 9 rounds of ammunition ready to go, plus the 6 on the side saddle, which give you a total of 15. That's 8 in the magazine tube, 1 in the chamber, and 6 on the side. Now, I keep this weapon stored cruiser ready. That means that the action is closed but pumpable, and I keep about 5 rounds in the magazine tube with 6 more on the side, safety off. Because a shotgun can discharge if it falls, I do not keep one in the chamber while it's stored, but because the action is already unlocked, if the weapon is needed upon removal from its storage place or from the corner of the room, wherever it may be, you can simply pump it and be ready to go. When you run a shotgun, pump it like you mean it. Do not run the pump softly. I have learned that this gun, as reliable as it is, if you pump it softly or without enthusiasm, shall we say, then there is a possibility that you may end up with a double feed or some other type of malfunction, and that can take the weapon out of the fight, which can allow bad guys an opportunity to do the harm they intended when they decided they wanted to commit a crime against you or your family. So run the gun like you mean it, and it will work flawlessly. That has been my experience. This weapon was once called on to, shall we say, make some people who were coming to possibly do some dirt decide to go elsewhere once they realized that they were going to be facing what many consider to be a formidable weapon. It's interesting. A shotgun creates a certain amount of fear in those who face it. As a matter of fact, it's my understanding that during World War II, the German soldiers were absolutely terrified of Americans wielding shotguns in the trench warfare and so forth. So, an interesting historical tidbit about this weapon. This is a little bit larger with a 20-inch barrel, as I mentioned earlier, than some of your 18-inch barrels or some of your short barrel shotguns. But with practice, this is a weapon that can be wielded easily, even in the confined spaces of a home. But like with anything that you want to be good with, you want to be good at, this is something you need to practice. So I suggest that any type of weapon that you happen to have in your home, whether it be shotgun, rifle, pistol, whatever it may be, practice with that weapon inside your home, dry firing of course, to determine how you would use it if called upon in an SHTF type situation. And I don't just mean apocalyptic, but I mean immediate SHTF, i.e. 3 o'clock in the morning and someone comes through your window. That is an SHTF situation. So don't wait for a collapse to happen before you decide that you want to train and be prepared with your weapons. Have the gun available if necessary. Hope that you never have to use it, but be prepared to do so if called upon to use the weapon in a time of extreme need. Again, this is the Mossberg 590A1, and what a great gun. Dual action bars. It's got a tang safety, I believe it's referred to, versus the crossbolt safety, which makes it easy to use with either hand. So if you're left-handed or right-handed, then you can run the safety on this gun without any difficulty. And it shows red when ready to fire, and it shows nothing when the weapon is on safe. They make all sorts of aftermarket devices for this weapon. Magpul makes buttstocks and forward grips, and you can slap all kinds of bells and whistles to make it as tactical as you want. I like a weapon that's relatively plain. If I was going to add anything to this gun, I'd put a light on there and a ghost ring sight. And that'd be about all I put on here. The original Mossbergs did not come with a drilled and tapped receiver. So you would have to take this weapon and have it drilled and tapped if you wanted to mount something directly to the receiver. But with the aftermarket, there are rails that replace the heat shield and all kinds of stuff that you can put on this weapon to quote unquote modernize it. But as it is right now, this gun works well. And if you're going to add anything to it, to keep it even simpler, simply slap a light on here. At in-the-house ranges, if you know how to use that bead sight, you will be hitting what you're aiming at. So once again, thank you for coming on to YouTube today and checking out this short video on the Mossberg 590A1. This is your brother from another mother reminding you that gunfire, when shot against tyranny, is the sound of liberty. So stay vigilant, strong, and prayed up.